Joining us now is former U.S. Attorney Brett Tolman. Hello, Brett. Thank you for joining us. It seems like the trend is to pick really, really young lawyers so they can serve for decades, but sometimes the nominees haven't even tried a case before.
Yeah, Trey, I think back of my time serving in the United States Senate Judiciary Committee as chief counsel and the nominations that came through. That was over a decade and a half ago, a couple decades ago, actually now. And the caliber of nominees were very, very different. I do recall, though, Chairman Orrin Hatch saying that the most consequential thing the Judiciary Committee does, is nominate and to vote on judges. And I look back now and I think he was incredibly wise, because we now see the impact that judges, these liberal progressive judges that are unqualified, that are getting on the bench, and they have an agenda and they don't have the credentials, they don't have the intelligence, they don't have the restraint, the judicial restraint, or the demeanor for the bench. And it worries me looking at our judicial bench going forward.
Brett, I think you put your finger on something. It's what we expect from judges now. It is like a super legislative body or a super legislator that can effectuate things that we can't get politically or legislatively. It's not just the Biden administration. Republicans have made some dicey nominations as well. I can remember a couple that, President Trump had a lot of picks. What should a president be looking for in a judge? And since you were general counsel for Senate Judiciary, the senators play a role in this also. It's not just the president, right?
Well, they do. And politics is taking over common sense, and it's taking over the role of the Senate. The Senate is supposed to be screening these candidates to get the best qualified, the most impartial. Instead, we're seeing both sides. And I think you're accurate, Trey. I think both Republicans and Democrats have been foolish to put politics over credentials and over, the ability to hear a case and to judge neutrally and not politically. Instead, we're now seeing a call for judges that will advance, abortion on one side or gun rights on the other. And instead, we should have judges that want to do nothing close to legislating, but to hear cases and to let our rule of law to develop not based on politics, but based on our Constitution and an adherence to those principles.
All right, I want to be very clear about this in case I run into a federal judge at the golf course, which is typically where I do run into them. Most of them it is the crowning achievement in their career, and deservedly so. And most of them know exactly when it is time to step aside or take senior status. But not everyone. So is it time to at least explore term limits for judges, or do you think this, for the period of their good behavior or life, is the right term limit, and we don't need another one?
Well, Trey, coincidentally, I have two cases, one in Florida and one in New York, and both the youngest judge is 99 in those cases. It makes it very difficult. I know there's some wisdom in why we had life appointments, but I think as a country we're seeing problems with the longevity of individuals in political office as well as on the bench. And it would be worth looking at and analyzing. And, I wish in both of my cases that, we had probably judges that were a little younger, and certainly that I think it would change the type of case or the way the case is run. Having said that, if they're mentally sharp, and they're impartial, I love practicing in front of a judge that's not political and has incredible wisdom. But I do think that this country is getting far afield with our judicial bench, that, in a way that is going to be dangerous for our country, because we're going to start demanding from our judges, whether they're nominated by a Democrat or a Republican, we're going to start demanding from them adherence to that political side. And I think that's dangerous for our country.
Well, I want to say just for the record that the federal judges I have cases in front of are brilliant, and I hope they serve and live forever. Brett Tolman, thank you for joining us on a Sunday night.
Thank you.
Up next.